Welcome to Crotoni Entertainment. I'm Chris.
And I'm Bree.
And today we're going to do something a little different than normal, but we're still going to paint a miniature. We're going to go into our Super Putties today. Now, we're going to do this a little weird. So let me just tell you the paints, let me tell you the brushes, and we'll get going. Almost all the paints are Citadel. You got Agrax Earthshade, Basilicum Gray, Abaddon Black, Evil Sun Scarlet, and then the P3 Necrotite Green. This is the order we're going to paint them in, and we're going to paint the Super Putty using the following three brushes. A pretty thick brush, a nice medium brush with a fairly thick but medium head, and a small head. And we're going to go right into the Super Putties. I just want to get this out of the way before we really start talking, Bree. I primed all of them with a medium tone gray. Doesn't matter what gray you use, but I went with a medium tone gray on the darker side. And here's where this is a little different. We've done one of these before. This video doesn't stop.
Oh, you just keep painting.
There's no cuts. So we're going to start with the Agrax Earthshade. That's why I said the colors were in order. There's going to be no camera tricks. There's going to be no cuts. I'm going to show you how quickly you could potentially paint these Super Putties.
Dry time.
It's under 10 minutes.
With dry time?
Without dry time.
Okay.
So we cheated a little bit. And you're going to see what we did here momentarily. But without dry time, less than 10 minutes to paint these Super Putties.
So we are slathering on the Agrax.
That is 100% my word, you monster. But absolutely, we're going to do the Agrax all over the gray. We're doing that for a couple of reasons. One main reason, I want them to look different than the other putties I have done. So
right.
So when that's done and it dries, it's going to look like this. As you see, I've pre-prepped a miniature that's already done.
Look at the pretty.
When that's done, we're going to jump right into the Basilicum Gray, and that's going to go over all of the really clay-like aspects of the Putty Patroller, which would be the boots, the belt, the face masks, and the arms and arm weapons. So just like we did with the putties, we're using the Basilicum Gray. We did the same thing with the regular putties, too. We did the dark, kind of mid-tone dark gray, but we went with more of a black wash than a brown wash. This actually makes them a little brighter.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
But it gives us a color variation that we don't have from, we wouldn't have otherwise. And I just didn't want to have, geez, how many do we have? I think it's like 18 and something Super Putties.
Yeah.
And then I think by the time it's done, we have all the kits except for the Foot Soldier pack, but all that extra stuff comes in the Kickstarter box.
Right.
So we have whatever the total number is. I think it's like 24 regular putties.
Oh, he's drifting again.
I don't do too bad this time, I don't think.
Okay. So belts, boots.
Belts, boots, face masks, and weapons. These guys they're perfect for batch painting.
Yeah. They're all the same model. They are relatively, if you follow true to the show, or at least the comics, all about the same color-ish.
Well, you can go nuts with them. I've seen some pretty cool alternate color schemes with them. I actually saw one the other day that was magma putties. They were gray, but he did like a reddish orange on the areas that we're doing Basilicum Gray.
Yeah, the cracky areas.
So it was pretty cool. I mean, you could be creative with them. You could do the Super Nintendo Power Rangers video game that they were like purple with yellow hands. That was pretty bad.
That was bad.
I was actually really tempted to do that in some cases. But when I say batch painting, what these guys are great for is, like I said, I think there's 18. These guys would be perfect for picking up, say, 6 of them. Mm-hmm. Spray all 18 gray. Pick up 6 of them and do that Agrax Earthshade wash. Or heck, even all 18 of them. You pick up all 18 of them, do the Agrax Earthshade all in a row, that first coat. By the time you're done with that, the first one should be dry.
Yep.
So you can pick him up right away and do the Basilicum Gray. And being a contrast paint, the Basilicum Gray dries pretty quickly.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Any of the contrasts are really good about being able to dry relatively quickly, depending on how you slather on.
Now, I've done all of my Super Putties at this point, too. So I'm not just blowing smoke for people when I say the whole batch goes very, very quickly.
You did it like before I woke up the one morning, didn't you?
I did. What I did is I
Other than the ones that you were...
Other than the ones I planned for this video, where I knew I was going to be doing them in stages without the dry time, I did all of them together, and they went just so fast. I painted that whole batch probably faster than I could finish complaining about Tommy Oliver.
Well, considering I've seen you go on like hour-long rants about Tommy... I mean, we've made it to like our favorite game stores and back with you still going on Tommy Oliver.
That guy's a monster. Anyway, while we're doing this, and we're about to switch to a different color, but while we're doing this, I know we've gotten into a habit of talking about other topics. I'm going to give you a spoiler. We're only going to have about 5.5 minutes to talk about another topic because that's how fast we're going to be done here.
Okay.
So I was thinking about gamers. People who play the game.
Like people who play the games that we specifically play, or gamers, war gamers, or gamers, board gamers?
Well, that's the thing. I tend to think, and I've made this mistake, I tend to think of the people who play the games I play as playing the same types of games I play. And I realize that's not correct. I play a lot of games.
Yeah, we are generalists at the best of times.
Absolutely. So anyway, we finished the Basilicum Gray, and we're going to jump immediately into the next color. Here's what it's going to look like when it's dry. So we grab the next putty along the line.
There you go.
We're going to go into our Abaddon Black.
Okay.
This is going to fill in some of the deeper recesses on this guy. The very specific ones. You know how the putties have those stripes on their suits in the show?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple notable stripes on this guy's body.
Oh, like okay, like the ones right there.
Guys, she's pointing at the screen right now.
I am.
We're not recording
like
her.
You guys could see me. I fell into it.
This is good radio. This is good radio right here. She's pointing at the screen. Anyway, we're not going to do all of them. We're just going to do kind of some of the more prominent ones for me. And they go pretty quick. So we're going to do that first. And then we're going to go back and we're going to take care of the top of the base. But gamers, I play multiple war games. Yes. I play board games.
Yes.
I play this game, which is almost a hybrid between certain types of war games in this. This is not dissimilar from like Warhammer Underworlds.
Great. It's not dissimilar, but at the same time, it also has aspects of a straight-up board game.
Exactly. So I was wondering how many people are just board gamers, how many people are just war gamers who happen to pick this up, and how many people, because this also came up earlier too, how many people are just Heroes of the Grid players?
Ooh, so just Power Rangers
just
fans.
This, because I actually saw somebody, and I forget who, and this is also great note-taking on my part for videos.
You're so good at this game.
Who mentioned that this game got them into board games.
Oh, well then, to that one person that Chris doesn't remember, welcome. I hope you brought all your money.
And to the everybody else I don't remember, welcome as well. I've had
hope you brought all your money.
Yeah, I've had conversations where I'm like, I've seen people complain about the price of this game, and it's not cheap. But this is not a war game. This is nowhere near what you spend on a war game. Anyway, when we get the black all done,
yep,
we're gonna do the base with that nice color there, and we're gonna go on to the red.
The red.
Yeah.
Do the eyeballs.
So at any rate, that's this is more of kind of a channel update almost, because one of my goals for this channel was to kind of talk about all the types of games I like to play. So anyway, we're using the fine tip brush to do the eyeballs here, and I have been thinking about how to bridge
the gap,
this game into war games and backwards into other board games. Not backwards, but laterally.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know everybody's thoughts on that. Please leave me a comment below. What type of gamer are you? What type of content would you like? What do you know about war games? Because I've got some great war games I could introduce you to. I've got some great board games I could introduce to you. So what do you think? What do you think the people want to know? So anyway, we did the red eyeballs.
Red eyeballs.
And then we're going to go on to the green base. This is the Necrotite green. This has an important learning step in it. You see how thick I've got it on this brush?
Yeah.
I dipped this brush in water, and then I dipped it in this paint. P3 paints especially, but other brands do this too. P3 paints get very thin when you water them.
Yes, they do.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to see in a minute how thin this color looks on here. That's okay, because the trick is let it dry thin and then do a second coat.
Second coats are not a bad thing.
And we're going to do that momentarily.
Okay. I was going to say, there are other good hybrid games. If you've got people out there who they really like the multi-function, multi-aspect part of this, of it's a card game. We were talking about this with Jules earlier.
And once that, you can see that thin paint.
Yeah.
And we just go over it with our coat.
There you go.
It's no big deal.
But Jules was talking about this, that it's a board game, it's a card game, but it's got figures. So he's kind of got all of his little, boxes checked.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that there are a couple other games that we have that fit that kind of multi-niche requirement, or
Well, like Descent.
Gloomhaven. I'm looking over at the shelves and I'm like, there's my big...
I don't know if I can lift that anymore. It's too heavy.
Okay, guys, take yourselves, and if you think this game is expensive for the initial outlay of $80, don't go looking at Gloomhaven.
This year it's like $160.
Yeah.
Gloomhaven's ultimately cheaper by the time you buy the expansion of this game.
Yeah,
but this is still cheaper than a war game. But anyway, this is, like I said, this is kind of almost a channel update. We're kind of cheating a channel update into a video here, because if you haven't already seen it, every Friday from here on out, we're going to be doing a series called Gamed in 60 Seconds, where we're going to take a game we have, whether a war game or board game, we're going to do a quick overview.
What are you doing? What are you about to do?
We're done.
Is this it?
That's
He's
it.
all good?
He's done. Now we take him out, we're going to spray him with a matte varnish. I use the Krylon 2X matte clear spray paint.
Right.
But he's done. So we're going to get some good looks at him, and we're going to wrap this video up. We're almost done.
Okay.
So anyway, look forward to Gamed in 60 Seconds. We're going to keep sticking with Morphin Monday, every Monday for Power Rangers. Next week, we're probably going to do a theory video or a Ranger Miser rather than doing an actual painting video because we're going to be at a convention next weekend.
We get to go meet Bulk!
Like and subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about board games, war games, and Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid.